Across ancient Egypt, rulers erected monuments to their power. Elaborate stone pyramids designed to mark these pharaohs as gods to their people and to generations to follow. In the valley of Giza, just outside Cairo, the Great Pyramid of the Pharaoh Cheops, also known as Khufu, stands as one of the true wonders of the world.
The Great Pyramid in particular is probably the most perfect and largest ancient building that was ever created. What makes the Great Pyramid particularly unusual is its size, the perfection, and the skill used in building it.
The pyramid covers 13 acres and is made of 2.3 million limestone blocks. Centuries of construction are thought to have gone into building the tomb of the great Pharaoh Cheops. But in recent years, theories have sprung up challenging the purpose and meaning of the Great Pyramid.
The standard view of the Great Pyramid and most of the pyramids in Egypt is that they were tombs for pharaohs. It seems like a simple theory. However, no pharaoh or mummy was ever found in a pyramid in Egypt, not even one.
The fact that nobody was in there is something that Egyptologists have long been able to explain on the basis of grave robbing. These things have been robbed for millennia before somebody said, you know, these are things worth saving and preserving.
Ignoring the scientific facts that no artifacts from Giza or the Nile Valley have ever been carbon dated earlier than 5000 BC, David Childress continues to believe that the Great Pyramid predates Khufu's reign.
Nowhere in the Great Pyramid are there paintings of the Book of the Dead or of the life of any pharaoh, which is typical in all tombs of pharaohs. Why wouldn't the pharaoh carve hieroglyphs into it and say, hey, I built this and you better be impressed? And we are.
Some historians feel the answer to that secret lies in the extreme vanity of the pharaohs.
When you're creating a pyramid, you're creating a stylized mountain. You're creating a means of connecting heaven to earth. I would prefer to see to it that the knowledge of how I accomplished this was lost, and that when I moved on to the next world, that knowledge, so to speak, went with me. Because obviously, if no one there ever after were able to create something like what I created, then my greatness is that much greater.
According to Egyptian history, slaves built the giant pyramid by dragging massive stones across wooden ramps, slowly raising the structure over many years. The advancement of the pyramid design has been well preserved in Egypt's archaeological record.
The Pyramid of Khufu is the culmination of a process of cultural development and evolution. It's not the first step. If you go to ancient Egypt, you look 6,000 years ago and 7,000 years ago, they're burying leaders in just rock-cut tombs. And then 5,500 years ago, 6,000 years ago, that earthen mound wasn't good enough. They built mastabas, little square block buildings over the burials of people.
Vader believes improvements on these early models led to the work in the Valley of Giza.
It is the culmination of a series of experiments. If you look at the end point of an experiment and say, wow, how could anybody have done that? Well, of course, you look at the steps beforehand that show how they perfected the technology.
The Great Pyramid has long frustrated those attempting to unravel its many riddles. Egyptologists hold that the pharaoh Cheops built it as a monument to himself. But could a collection of ancient texts reveal a different story? Eric von Daniken and Orio Zoukalos of the magazine Legendary Times believe that obscure Arabic texts confirm that the Great Pyramid was not designed by a pharaoh. They claim the inspiration came from extraterrestrials.
When those guardians from the sky, as they're called, descended from the sky, they realized that human beings were intelligent. They picked one specimen of which they thought had the most potential, and they proceeded to teach him in all various disciplines, in mathematics, in agriculture, in astronomy. This individual's name was Zaurit.
As the story goes, Sorid was a scribe for the alien visitors. He transcribed more than 300 volumes of knowledge about the universe. When a great flood was predicted to strike Egypt, Sorid asked the aliens for help in preserving the library. According to the story, they agreed and provided him with plans to build a protective structure.
Sorid constructed the pyramid with his people. He left these chambers inside, he put his books inside, and then he made the whole pyramid waterproof because he covered every seat with stone plates. Then the flood appeared.
If you're going to tell me that, well, maybe the gods of the ancient world were really extraterrestrials, all I can say is, great story.
For centuries, Egypt's Great Pyramid has captivated our imagination, a monument to the pharaoh Cheops. The pyramid is large enough to cover 7 city blocks. Some believe a structure so immense could have been built only with outside help. Is there more to the Great Pyramid than meets the eye? Author Bonnie Gaunt uses the ancient process of gematria, which is the calculation of the numerical values given to Hebrew letters, words, or phrases. Through gematria, she says she can prove the pyramid arose out of biblical prophecy, not alien intervention.
The Great Pyramid was designed by the Creator himself as an evidence of his plan for the salvation of man. There are many reasons for that theory. The height of the Great Pyramid, up from its base platform to its summit platform, is 5,449 inches. In the book of Isaiah, it says, "In that day there shall be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar at the border thereof, for a witness to the Lord." If you take every Hebrew letter in that text and assign their number equivalents and total them, they will add to 5,449, precisely the height of the Great Pyramid.
Using another set of numbers, Gaunt sees an astronomical connection between the Great Pyramid and the Earth's cycle.
The perimeter of the base of the Great Pyramid is 36524.2 inches. Now, if that number sounds familiar, it is familiar, because 365.242 is the number of days in the solar year, the number of days that it takes the Earth to orbit the Sun.
Academics see too many discrepancies, born out of gematria and its alphanumeric findings.
When one thinks of the Great Pyramid in the context of gematria, one once again thinks in terms of the infinite way in which numbers particularly if they're applied to the biblical text, lend themselves to interpretation.
If you take the height of the Washington Monument and multiply it by 40, you get the distance to the nearest star in light years. When they built Washington's Monument, they're in D.C., were they thinking of that? Was that intentional? Or do you set yourself up where, look, I have a lot of measurements over here, and I have an infinite number of things that could match to it?
The Great Pyramid of Cheops continues to challenge our imagination and serves as an endless source of intrigue. It's an engineering marvel and tribute to the people of its time.
The Great Pyramid is built by Khufu to immortalize himself in all the senses of the word. It's either the marker of his tomb or not, but it is the symbol of his passage to the realm of immortality. And in being sui generis, the most extraordinary pyramid of them all,
I believe, until it's really been satisfied how these rocks were quarried, moved, dressed, the mystery will never be solved.
The fact that the pyramids are spectacular and splendid should do one thing for us. It should cause us to be in awe of ancient people.
it has to do with someone who had that kind of genius, and geniuses occur in every generation and every culture of one sort or another. Someone had that inspiration to conceive of the idea, and someone had the charisma to galvanize what was necessary to enact the idea. I don't find that impossible just because it's 4,500 years ago.
The pyramids of Giza, the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids. They're burial chambers.
They might have been placed here by someone else.
It's possible that the stuff could be built, but then again, where did they get the technology?
I won't be surprised if it's connected to aliens.
Godlike self-promotion or biblical prophecy? The pyramid at Giza is pretty big, so maybe it can't help but inspire big theories. The world is full of extraordinary things that seem mysterious. Crop circles, Stonehenge, the Nazca lines, evidence of contact with beings from beyond, or catalysts for human storytelling. We'll be back soon with a scientific perspective on extraordinary phenomena. For The Critical Eye, I'm William B. Davis.